circumstances.
Joins right now is Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. Senator Manchin, do you think the United States should be using military force to defeat ISIL?
Oh, we're going to have to use military force. It's a matter, do we use our own combat troops on the front lines, get bogged down like we did in Iraq and Afghanistan? Not intended to, and I appreciate the president saying he doesn't intend for that to happen. But, you know, in West Virginia, we have a little common sense, and we know what the word of insanity means, the definition of insanity, and it looks like over in that part of the world, you just get bogged down, and if money or military might would have changed it, we'd have done it by now, Chris. So, and you read the thing about the enduring offensive ground combat operations. Right. What does that really mean?
Well, what could it mean to you in a way that would concern you and make you perhaps vote against this resolution?
Well, the bottom line is I'm not going to vote for anything that has the interpretation we can have combat ground forces on the front line fighting someone else's war. Now, we're going to go after ISIL. It makes no difference. We're going to protect America. But if we could just fast-track Jordan, getting them the necessary equipment they need to fight this war, if we can get the Turks to engage, if Saudis would engage, the Kurds are fighting and doing a heck of a job. And we got to make sure we're getting them the equipment to do the job. The other thing is, Chris, the 2001 AUMF, and it's still in force. I don't really know what the reason or the purpose why we need this one if you're not going to repeal 2001.
Well, I'm just looking at the language that you just mentioned, Senator. I know you're going to have to deal with this in a more fine way, put word by word, but one word that looks like it bothers you is enduring, that you want to basically say, let's have no offensive ground combat operations. Wouldn't that get to where you're at?
Yes, I think from the standpoint we do have to look at this, and if we can get it to the point that we have some comfort with that, but enduring right now could mean that basically, oh, we don't intend for them, but we're going to go ahead and put, if it takes 5,000, 10,000, or a surge. Surge, I mean, you're putting an awful lot of American lives on the front line again, and we've seen the outcome of that. I don't wish to repeat that one. They're not determined to fight their own ground war over there yet, and until they're determined, I would think Jordan and King Abdullah was very, very precise in what he was going to do, and he did it.
Well, let me ask you, you know what I know, Senator, probably more for briefings, but the president says today that he needs that authorization for anything short of enduring ground combat operations because there may be an opportunity to jump in there with special forces, SEALs or whatever, and capture a whole bunch of these bad guys at once. So he wants the option play to be able to go in there, not as a big front line moving, sweeping across the ISIS territory, but in that opportunity, he wants to have a chance to use ground forces in an opportunity situation to grab the leadership. Are you against that?
What I'm saying, no. I want to make sure that we stop ISIL any way we can to support basically the people over there who are fighting the front lines. The Iraqis are engaging. We have to use our special ops where we can to make sure that our airstrikes and, you know, that we're being effective. Chris, the only thing I'm saying is that the 2001 AUMF is still in play. That's the one that Bush has used. That's the one that President Obama has used in a broad scope. I don't know why they think they need this one here, who they're trying to appease with it. If they were repealing 2001 and 2002, and we only had one to work on right now, that would be a different story. So I'm going to wait and see what the language they come up with. If they're able to change it a little bit, as you've said, if we're able to have strategic strikes, get in and get out, all this could be different. But we haven't seen that yet.
I can see your argument, and certainly your background and understanding all this is representing West Virginia, but the president is, I would say, to your left in terms of war. I think you know that. He's a bit more dovish. You're of a centrist mode, I think. Do you really think he's going to turn out to be more hawkish than Joe Manchin? More hawkish? I mean, it doesn't seem in his build to do that.
I would hope that would not be. I mean, I say in West Virginia, you know, we're one of the most patriotic states in the nation. Veterans per capita and people still fighting. We're willing to go anywhere to defend this country. But again, I've said, ground troops in that part of the world has not solved that problem. We've lost 6,000, more than 6,000 Americans already. 55,000 have been maimed, and we've spent $3 trillion, Chris. They have got to engage over there. Now, make no mistake, if it looks at ISIL as a threat and coming in this direction, we'll do whatever. We've got more problems right now with them basically coming back to our country, coming to the Western world.
Well, here's the hardball question. We all look, I know you do as well as I do, with incredible what's the right agony at what they've done to our people over there, especially the young woman, Kayla, and Kayla and Mueller, and what they did to that poor, courageous pilot for Jordan. we look at that and we want to stamp it out. We don't want that to be on our planet with us. We don't want to see that happen again. We want to get the people and erase them who do that. At the same time, you draw restrictions. You say, well, let the Jordanian Air Force do it, let the Kurds do it, let whatever there is of the Iraqi government or army, if there is such a thing, they're all Shia, and maybe these sleeper cells on our side in the Syrian Free Army, whatever they are. But in the end, do you see any coming together of ending this war, ending this ISIS organization in the near future? Do you see it in any future?
Chris, first of all, my heart goes out to the families and these horrific tragedies, horrible atrocities to these people. My heart goes out along with every other American. But with that also, my heart goes out to over 6,000 American families that lost their loved ones trying to help that part of the world and those people in that part of the world. They've got to stand up and fight for themselves. They've got to clean up their mess. We've got to keep them from coming in through any way, shape, or form into this country. Sleeper cells, whatever it may be, people coming back. We've got quite a few Americans engaged now. We've got to stop that. Europe's got a horrible problem with it. So these are the areas we can keep them from coming in. Putting more troops on there kind of rile them all up and ginning them up to go out and recruit and get more people fighting America. That doesn't seem to win that war over there.
Okay. A lot of thinking going into that, and thank you so much.
Boy.
I know it's a complicated one. Thank you so much, Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia.